And hello everybody, what is going on? How are you doing today? Welcome back to the Retro Wayfarer podcast. I am your host, the Nerdy Viking, the Retro Wayfarer, that crazy bearded white guy. And I just wanted to welcome you back to part 2 of another 2-part episode with Mr. Bear God 666. So I hope you guys enjoy, and let's get into it.
But it's not the only tabletop game.
Exactly. And, a lot of people going straight from consoles into D&D could be something that's just absolutely terrifying.
Yeah, well, so not only is there the stigma around playing D&D that's been around, and we're kind of squashing that.
Yeah.
Like in the modern age with 5e, with Stranger Things kind of breaking the mold.
Yeah.
And like bringing that kind of stuff to the mainstream again, and so we're squashing the stigma a little bit, but it's still a game for like hardcore nerds, right?
Yeah.
But so it's not the only one, and it's definitely not the only role-playing tabletop game out there. There's a lot of cool games that vary in little degrees. So there's these really cool, I have one. I didn't bring it today because it's a gigantic box. But there's the Pathfinder card campaign games.
I think I saw that box sitting on your chair by your table the day I went over.
Yeah, you did. So that game is really cool because you're given a card, like these cards that represent your character.
Okay.
What it could do and what it can't do. So that immediately takes away the intimidation of like making a character sheet.
Yeah.
Like reading a PHB to like be able to understand what I can and can't do, and making this character sheet with all of these like things that I have to fill in. So games like that are really cool because it's just like, here's your cards, you pick your character, let's go, let's play this pre-made story.
Yeah.
And those type of games are pretty cool, and they could usually be over within an hour or two.
So they're kind of quick plays.
Yeah, they're kind of quick plays, but it's a really good intro to role-playing games and stuff. I would definitely recommend those. There's also the Dungeons and Dragons ones, like Castle Ravencroft, and those ones are also, you're given like cards that represent a character, but those ones have like full-scale models that come with it, and like gigantic castle pieces and actual miniatures to represent where you are and where you're going.
So kind of like D&D, but instead of the full-blown version, it's like the baby brother.
Yeah, I like to think of those games as like the intro version.
Yeah.
And it's also really cool because like some of those games have different ways they could end up.
Yeah.
And so you could play a story within a couple of hours. You don't have to make a character sheet. The games usually range in price. I want to say anywhere from like $60 to $100.
And that's not too bad either.
Yeah, so those are really cost-efficient ways of like getting yourself introduced to playing a role-playing tabletop game.
Okay.
I think those are really good options, right? But
yeah, definitely.
But of course, we all know that there's also ways to play tabletop games where you don't have to roleplay.
Yeah. Right? I know Magic is still a big one that's kind of making a comeback, it seems.
Magic is still a thing. Believe it or not, Yu-Gi-Oh! Is still a thing.
Really?
Pokemon is still going.
Oh, yeah. I don't see Pokemon dying anytime soon.
No, and there's the new ones coming.
Are there?
Sword and Shield, Pokemon Sword and Shield. Have you not heard about this?
Oh, yeah, that is right.
Do you live under a rock?
No. And they're for the Switch, right?
I believe so.
Okay. So there's that, and then whatever cards they come out with for that, whatever new Pokemon they have.
Yeah, it's going to be intense. So there's always ways to play tabletop games that aren't role-playing games, right?
Yeah.
And then I have... Your eyes have been magically swaying back and forth between me and the magic that I brought.
Yes, and if you could see what I see, it looks like it would be a hell of a lot of fun, and it looks very, very phenomenal for what it is.
So what he's looking at is I brought a few items from Dice Masters.
Okay.
So this is a combination dice and card game. Really fun. The makers made it really cool, so there's tons of additions to draw people in to whatever you're interested in here. So I'm a Dungeons and Dragons nerd, so what you're looking at is the edition
Dungeons and Dragons, you can see it right up top.
Dungeons and Dragons, the Battle for Faerun. This is the edition of Dice Masters that's actually based off of Dungeons and Dragons.
Nice.
So that's pretty cool. Take a look at that. It's really fun.
Oh, that is awesome. You have on the back, it's showing a Beholder card, Blue Dragon, Dwarf Cleric, 44 custom dice, 12 action dice, 16 character dice, 16 sidekick dice, huh?
Yeah, so that's really cool. And those boxes are everything you need to get going and play with a friend. That's like, it's everything. Like,
2-player starter set.
Yep, me and you could play off that box, no problem.
And that is awesome. Yeah, it even has 24 character cards, action cards, and color reminder cards.
Yeah, and so there's tons of things additions that this goes with, right?
Yeah.
So there's X-Men, there's DC, there's Avengers, there's Guardians of the Galaxy, Dungeons and Dragons. There's I believe there's even some that are like anime inspired.
Oh wow.
Of these. Yeah, it gets pretty crazy. So whatever you're into, you can make Dice Masters your thing. You could pick your interest and buy the edition that you're most interested in. And then, so what you could also do is, so you get the starter kit, right?
Yeah.
And then they sell these really, really inexpensive, I believe they're like $1 or $2.
Oh, that's not bad.
That there's these booster packs. So I have one here for you. There's a Guardians of Galaxy one.
Oh, snaps, yep.
I bought a Dungeons and Dragons booster pack one.
Oh,
I got
nice.
a freaking Mind Flayer in that one.
Oh, yeah, you did.
And then the Uncanny X-Men booster pack.
That and a Tarask.
Yeah, a Tarask. It's freaking like one of the most gigantic enemies.
And that's the one that we were talking about in 5e that people are able to one-shot.
Yeah, that's dumb. Shouldn't be able to do that.
Come on.
So these are really cool. I got an X-Men pack that I got. Just gave me 2 cable cards.
Oh, good old Cable. Oh, and it comes with dice?
Yeah, so it comes with all the dice that you need to start using the cards that it comes with.
Nice. Yeah, and it has, different numbers, different icons, and, things on them, so I assume
so
dice.
This game probably, it takes a minute to learn it.
Yeah, and
it is ages 14 and up because, again, the rules are... It takes some time to understand it, but it's really fun. These are really cool.
Well, what I like is as I'm looking at the cards, it shows like on the bottom max 4, it shows different rolls, different other things that are on there.
And so it'll show you that the dice you have to roll, and there's this whole thing where you have like a reserve of dice and the amount of energy that you have to roll in order to use certain cards. And so, yeah, it's pretty cool. If you take a minute and... I actually just watched a YouTube tutorial on the instructions.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, I don't know. For me, I learned better by just like seeing somebody do it.
Yeah, as opposed to just trying to read.
Yeah, just read it, and then I'm like, okay, I forgot the last part, and then we reread. No, I learned it better just by watching a YouTube tutorial, watching a couple people play, and then just getting a hang of the rules from them.
Well, that's how I learned D&D.
Yeah, but that one's really fun. Dice Masters is another really fun one.
It looks like it. And then I remember Dominion, which you can probably explain that one a little better than I can, but I do remember playing it.
Yeah, Dominion, games like Dominion and Ascension are both really fun. Those are deck building games Dominion is one where you kind of go in a rotation and you buy cards that have an effect. And similar in Ascension. Ascension's a little different because it has this thing called the center row. And so you're either buying cards or fighting monsters in Ascension. And that's really cool. And so killing a monster or buying and playing certain cards could screw up the other players.
Oh, okay.
So those ones are really fun. There's just tons of tabletop games, and I recommend that everyone goes out to their local game store and supports them and pick up a cool game. And it doesn't have to be something complicated like Dice Masters, Ascension, or Dominion. It could be something as simple as Kittens in a Blender, which is another fun one.
Cards Against Humanity, it's still a tabletop.
It's still a table. That's very much a thing. The expansions for that are still going very strong.
Yeah.
Yours should be coming in soon, right?
Actually got it.
Okay, yeah. Can't wait to do that. Look over those. Those are cool.
Yeah.
That one's always a fun one. But yeah, I think the whole tabletop thing is a really good way to break away from the online thing.
Yeah.
To break away from the video games and for us to like reconnect with people face to face.
And that's the thing, a lot of people are afraid. Like, yeah, Dungeons and Dragons is becoming bigger and more popular, but a lot of people are still afraid of, oh, if I go into that game store, I'm going to be a nerd, blah, blah, blah. People are going to look at me weird. Like, say, you have a high school jock wanting to get into it and go, and it's kind of that same thing, I'm going to go in there, it's going to ruin my rep. No. You're going to go in, and just because you picked on people in your school because you weren't thinking about it, you weren't in the right state of mind, doesn't mean that you're going to go in there and get backlash or be picked on because you're a jock. Nerds are some of the most accepting people out there.
Yeah, and I really like it now. Doing what I do as a high school teacher and working as one of the administrators of the Gamer Club.
Yeah.
We get to do really cool things and bring those different types of people together. So we have, our nerds and our weebs in there who love this kind of thing and eat it up. Mm-hmm. But we also have kids from the basketball team in there. We have kids from student council, in our D&D sessions. We have one of our kids who literally worked on like a ranch raising horses.
Oh, wow.
Plays in our D&D campaign. And so it's not just for hardcore nerds anymore. Like it's for everyone. Everyone could take something out of it. And I believe, and I just did a kind of a thing for some of our graduating seniors who finished a 2-year campaign.
Nice.
So they started when they were sophomores and they finished as graduating seniors.
That's one way to do it.
So like I had to remind them about all of the skills that they learned in D&D, right?
Yeah.
So like you learn teamwork. You learn teamwork on a level of where you're working with maybe some people that you're not friends with in regular high school settings and regular everyday social settings, right?
Yeah.
Maybe you wouldn't be friends with this person, but you had the teamwork skills to work with them and, ultimately accomplish the goal that they finished.
Yeah.
Half of them died.